Alright, the results are in, and I have to say that Remmick from Ryan Coogler's hit movie Sinners is MVP of the year. No, I'm not talking about the most valuable player, I'm talking about the most valuable vampire. Sure, we had other contenders like Nosferatu, the king of the ugly vampires, Lestat, the vampire who was easy on the eyes but deadly to the soul and heart, Northman, the Viking vampire who could conquer the world but not Sookie's heart, and lastly Remmick, who proved that joining a vampire hive tribe may not be a good idea. Vampires in general are metaphors for human relationships. Movies like Nosferatu, Interview with a Vampire, and True Blood examines relationships from a micro level. But Sinners takes the vampire relationship dynamic to a whole new level. Unlike its predecessors, it doesn't just focus on individual relationships. Instead, whole groups and organizations of people are forced to examine their relationships with each other. In Sinners, this is all done with the backdrop of religion, folklore, oppression, and yes, my friends, corruption. So if you're a huge vampire fan or stan like me, this video is for you.
Does evil come from within us or from beyond?
Nosferatu is the king of goths, and he is the king of ugly vampires. More importantly, he is a symbol of our repressed emotions and desires. In true vampire fashion, he sucks the light and love out of us through pleasure. Just look at Ellen. She was thought to be a misfit, at least in her day. She grew up unloved, abandoned, and filled with so much shame for her lustful desires. In her time of need, she calls out to a foreign entity, and she opens herself up only for a wicked spirit to latch on and ride her for dear life.
You could never please me as he could.
She marries Thomas, but sadly she can't shake off this demon from her past. Worse, the more Ellen resists, the more infatuated and angered Nosferatu becomes. Now, Nosferatu sets the groundwork for other great films such as Beetlejuice.
When I was a teenager, a trickster demon terrorized my entire family and tried to force me to marry him in order to come back to the real world for good.
In Beetlejuice, Lydia Deetz wasn't just weird, she was an outsider. As her loneliness grew, so did her desire for love and acceptance. Beetlejuice, the ghost with the most, didn't just prey on the Maitlands, but also on the 16-year-old girl. I know, technically speaking, Beetlejuice isn't a vampire, but he does fall into the demon/evil category.
Can you be scary?
I know you're asking me. Can I be scary? What do you think of this? You like it?
His work speaks for himself when he schemes to exile the Maitlands, imprison the Deetz, and their daughter. I know, that didn't really happen in the film, but the script was way more graphic and less palatable to non-horror fans. In True Blood, it is Bill Compton who is the most like Nosferatu. I know, in the looks category there's no comparison, but much like Nosferatu, Bill has an insane attraction to Sookie. Unlike Nosferatu, however, Bill wants to be good. He wants to make piteous attempts to mainstream by isolating himself from his vampire community and exclusively drinking True Blood.
And to think, just 5 minutes ago you were telling us how you were living mainly on synthetic blood. You big poser.
But who needs synthetic blood when you can partake in the richness of fairy juice, along with passionate lovemaking, by the way. Much like Beetlejuice, Bill Compton wants to feel alive again, and the only way for him to do that is to be with Sookie.
I can't hear you.
Thank you.
I can hear you, but I can't. I'm a star.
And Sookie, much like Ellen and Lydia, wants to feel that sense of belongingness and love. All characters seem to love the danger aspect of these relationships. However, Sookie seems to develop an addiction to it. She loves the fact that she is desirable to vampires and shapeshifters and wolfmen alike.
Where'd you find this?
Man, she smells sweet.
But soon her trysts and late night rendezvous turn deadly, dimming her light and turning her sunny days into darkness.
Trick is, you have to let it take you deep.
Now, like any abusive or dysfunctional relationship, Bill and Sookie just couldn't quit each other. So one of them or both of them had to die. In Nosferatu, Ellen destroys the beast and therefore destroys herself. In True Blood, Bill is staked to free himself from the lustful and toxic attraction that he had to Sookie Stackhouse.
I love you, Bill Compton.
I love you too.
The vampire Lestat is another beautiful demon. Much like Nosferatu, he feeds on suppressed emotions and desires of the people around him. But unlike Bill Compton, the vampire Lestat isn't trying to be good. While Bill grapples with his humanity, Lestat embraces his animalistic nature.
May I propose another rule? When we hunt human.
Louis, much like Ellen and Sookie, is attracted to the dangerous aspects of Lestat. But Louis is also mesmerized by his power.
The devil walks at night.
What?
Louis, as a black man or Creole man in the Jim Crow South, understood the pain of injustice and oppression. And Lestat, being the liberated, free-minded Frenchman, offered him a way out.
I can swap this life of shame. Swap it out for a dark gift and a power you can't begin to imagine.
The dark gift allowed Louis to embrace his nature, not only as a gay man, but also as a human being. Louis wanted to be seen as equal in New Orleans high society. And shacking up with Lestat gave him the means to do so. For years, his businesses thrived, only for the nebulous forces of evil to destroy them all. His businesses, along with entire black neighborhoods, were burned down to the ground. And with no real sense of purpose, Louis fell deeper and deeper into the clutches of depression.
Just say it. Say at the start, I am never going to love you. It would help me a great deal.
Lestat and Louis embark in this push-pull relationship. While Louis tries desperately to hold on to his humanity, Lestat works diligently to sway him another way, his way. The friction soon escalates to violence, with Louis killing Lestat and leaving him for dead, only for Lestat to rise up and orchestrate the killing of his beloved daughter, Claudia. Again, Louis is left devastated as everyone he loves is burned to a crisp. Eric Northman, the Viking Vampire, is more like Lestat than any other vampire. Why? Because he has a tremendous amount of power, but very little love. You could argue that he loved his prodigy Pam, but I think that he saw her more as the subject than his equal. Unlike Pam, Sookie represented something that was lost to him a long time ago: his boyhood, his innocence. Now, I argued in other videos that Eric Northman's backstory in True Blood was very different than in the books. In the series, Eric Northman was portrayed as a warrior and skirt chaser. Later, he was turned by Godric without ever experiencing love or having a family of his own.
You are incapable of love.
In the books, Eric Northman was a grown man with wife and kids before he was turned vampire. Now, these differences may seem trivial to the average viewer. However, they have a significant impact as to how the character develops throughout the series.
I'm here with the two of you. And it's gotta mean something.
I'm afraid to ask what.
I think I'm in love with both of you.
Sookie and Eric's relationship started with a boyish kind of an infatuation. Eric, living way more years as a vampire than human, didn't truly understand love and relationships. He scoffs at Bill for his feelings for Sookie, not realizing that he too would develop those same feelings.
You're not in love with her, are you? Sookie must be protected. Now that sounds like an edict, but it couldn't be because I would know about that.
Only Eric's feelings will be way more intense because Sookie was his first love. After 1,000 years of living on Earth as a vampire, Eric Northman had acquired a great deal of power and wealth and respect, but he had no clue on how to win over Sookie's heart.
These are human notions.
And I am human. Mostly. And so were you, and I've never seen you as human as you've been these past few days.
It's what I've fallen in love with.
It's only when he is hexed with brain drain and reduced to behaving like a mere child that he's finally able to win her over.
Omni danno me tam anime quan corporus.
With Sookie, Eric remembers his childhood and his ability to walk and play in the sun. And much like Bill, Sookie serves as a comforting reminder of the brighter days of Eric's past. But the connection between Sookie and Eric severed when Eric gets his full memory back. His vampire instincts force him to want to conquer and control, squishing out any prospects of love or genuine support. However, the movie Sinners is different from all other vampire movies.
Pick poor Robin clean. Pick poor Robin clean. I picked his head, I picked his feet. I would have picked his body, but it wasn't 15.
No one is falling in and out of love with each other. No one is being seduced into turbulent relationships. Instead, people are being lured into dysfunctional communities. And the communities within themselves become corrupted. This is a resounding theme throughout the movie Sinners and in real life. Just look at all these groups and corporations and religious organizations that start out with good intentions. Sure, it's all about fellowship and love, but soon turns sour once power is thrown into the mist. People, vampires like Remmick, want to increase their numbers, but really they want to expand their power. And they do this by appealing to people's basic wants and needs. The need for community and the need for belongingness. And people who are subjugated and oppressed have a driving desire to be part of a society that's loving and welcoming.
Cause you're in some deep, deep pain that money can't fix. Am I right?
But sadly, in many situations, these organizations do more harm than good. Much like appropriation, where people's languages and cultures and religions are stripped from them, or worse, absorbed into another culture, people join organizations based on the false pretense of equality. In truth, many of these organizations have eternal power structures that stifles creativity, power, and growth.
I want your stories, and I want your songs, and you won't have mine.
Remmick, for example, can be seen as an oligarch or a billionaire tech bro who wants to convince the masses that his ideas are good for everyone, when in truth, his ideas are only good for himself. Worse, people are forced to pass on their best ideas, their best years, the best parts of themselves to an organization. And as they get older or they go into their retirement years, they have very little left to survive. Meanwhile, these organizations gobble up more people and more resources, making it difficult for regular folks to break free or live outside the matrix. Remmick doesn't just represent toxic behavior within our community. He represents our parasitic nature to want more and more and more. We see this with consumerism and marketers making us believe that we can buy our way to happiness. Remmick, in my eyes, is the most valuable vampire because he is a direct reflection of our society's pains and woes, and he warns us of the downfalls of our behavior if we continue to exploit and mindlessly consume. So who do you think the most valuable vampire is? Please sound off in the comments below.